Welcome back, Smutterflies.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Oh,
This episode is as surprising for us as it is for you.
well, because we've got a new format of like basically 2 episodes a month are going to be not book related, but like not a deep dive or an author interview or something. We are kind of going with the flow with them, so it isn't like this super planned.
Yeah, and I text B at like, this afternoon.
Yeah.
What are we doing tonight?
I was like, I have been thinking about it.
But I'd also been thinking, so we have a plan. Do not fret.
do have, yes.
We're not here unprepared.
Although, like, we were literally just talking about this before we started recording, our wrap-ups have been doing, like, significantly better than most episodes, which comes to my theory of, like, I think we should go to we have no plan. But,
I mean, when we do books, it's the book, innit? So, like,
yeah.
Like, we have a plan. And we have a plan for the next couple of weeks, which isn't like us.
No, but remember how I've always been like, I think 1 week we just start showing up.
Oh,
and
okay.
We
have nothing.
We just show up.
Yeah.
And I think like
that's what our lives are like, and people always say that they enjoy when we go live on TikTok.
This is what I mean as well. Like, although obviously people hear for books, right?
Yeah.
Like, not to humble brag, but I just think people like hearing us yap.
Yeah. I think like when we do like Q&A sessions on live or at the end of our Patreon, like it's not often that the questions are book related.
No.
People are asking like what we're up to about our lives, like, oh, what do you like? We'll talk about food and drink, and like it's not just.
We had a detailed conversation about onions last week.
Poor Meg.
I'm like, yeah.
The onion family. Leeks, onions, spring onions, red onions.
Do you know what? My absolute rant about leeks last week.
Your hierarchy of...
of onion shame. All of it is terrible, but my, like, despair of onions, today, my husband... Because it is so... Yesterday, it was St. David's Day in Wales, but, like, kind of today is celebrating as well, because it's, like, a weekday, and kids tend to celebrate in schools and stuff. My husband decided to cook leek and potato soup at lunch. So, like, my whole house just stunk of cooking leeks. And I'm like, how many months pregnant am I? 4.
Yeah, sure.
Sure, that many. And I'm literally, like, vomiting at my desk because my whole house just smells of cooking leeks.
Whereas I love every type of onion. Raw, cooked, diced, sliced. Stunning.
Absolutely stinking. Anyway, but, maybe people like to hear a hierarchy of onion argument.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah.
Anyway,
what's happening?
As always, we are on Instagram and TikTok at a pod of Smut and Wingspan. We're on Patreon. You can come and watch us live once a month or have deep dive episodes on Patreon. We've just finished doing the first 4 books in the Beasts of the Briar series. Mm-hmm. We're doing Feather So Vicious next by Liv Zander, and then it's open to the Patreon subscribers to choose what comes next. We are on Throne, which is like a crowdfunding type app. We're on Threads, and we have a Discord channel with lots and lots of different topics and places to talk. It's a very supportive group. Like, everyone puts their Instagram handles in and their TikTok handles, and everyone supports each other. Everyone gives book recommendations. We talk about the TV series Heated Rivalry. We read along about books. It's really nice in there. It's a nice atmosphere and lots of bookish people. So come join us on Discord. Mm-hmm. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. What are you currently reading?
I'm doing audiobook and Kindle reading. I'm jumping in between. King of Ravens by Claire Sager.
How are you getting on with it?
Really enjoying it. I've only thus far done audio, but I've got it on the Kindle ready to like...
Did you buy it on Kindle?
Yeah, so I bought in all 3. So I've got a special edition. I've got like a physical special edition, audio and Kindle version. Nice. Wait, no, did I buy it on Kindle? Was it you that was telling me that it was quite spenny on Kindle?
Well, it was £1 more to get the hardback on the Zon, so I just got the hardback.
Was it like $12.99 on Kindle or something like that?
It was $8.99 on Kindle, but it was $9.99 on the Zon for the hardback.
Oh, maybe I haven't bought it then, because I feel like I probably wouldn't pay that.
Yeah.
So I might just end up reading the special edition. But I'm really enjoying. I'm like not that many. I only started it like last week, so I'm only like I don't know, 10 or so chapters in.
Okay, I'm like 6, I think.
Yeah, I'm not only I did 2 on the way over.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm loving it. Like,
She's funny as fuck, Anon.
and also, we'll talk about it next week. But the audiobook voice
Oh,
actors.
you said I need to listen to some of it.
So good.
I need just to have a little taste.
Yeah,
I need to listen to some of it.
So good. Like, I've just had recently had the MMC come in as well, and like his voice it sounds like Tom Hiddleston as Loki. So good.
Stop.
And then she's really good. Like, oh, it's just so good. I'm really, really enjoying myself. I knew I'd love it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't dispute it, but you know when you get a cracking audiobook, like everything's like hitting the mark. So yeah, I'm really interested. That's pretty much me. And I am going to need to start Feather So Vicious for Patreon as well. Yeah. So I'm going to start that like this week. And I think that's it. I don't think I'm...
Yeah, one of us needs to read an author spotlight, so we need to figure that out ASAP.
We need to sit down after this maybe.
Yeah, and go through. I did start going through all the submissions earlier, but then I stopped.
Yeah, and then I am still listening to Helen D'Amico and Anna Applegate, but obviously I've just put that on pause while I'm doing King of Ravens.
Stunning.
Because we haven't got a confirmed yes, have we? But like the plan is that Claire is...
We've got a confirmed yes, so we don't have a confirmed date. So my hope is that we will do King of Ravens next week.
Yeah.
And then the week after we will release the Claire Sager interview.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow up with her tonight.
Cool.
And I did email Elizabeth Helen. We haven't had a response. So.
Oh.
They do comment on my TikTok videos though, so maybe I'll message them on TikTok and just be like, hey, I emailed you off this email address. Like,
who did you email? Like their agent or?
Not just them.
Oh, just them.
I just went on their website and found their email.
Oh, cool. Okay. Maybe.
Like they've got like a contact us page on their website, so I just did that.
Yeah, so that's our like next focus, isn't it? Is King of Ravens, which is our book of the month, because essentially that's how we're now structuring things.
Yes.
What are you reading?
I am also reading King of Ravens by Claire Sager. I'm still audiobooking Arcana Academy by Elise Cover. I'm fucking vibing with it so much to the point where I'm considering, when I finish the audiobook, going back and reading it.
Wow.
Because I'm just loving it. And like, I want to see how people's names are spelt and like how things are written. Like, because I do find it's a different experience.
It is.
Like, I want to go, once all of the Bridge Kingdom's out, I want to go back and read the last two.
Yeah.
Because I just think you have a totally different experience. But I'm considering, when I finish it, going back and reading it, because it's fucking class. And I'm also reading A Trial of the Heart by J. Larson.
Oh, you started it.
Which, I'm like 20% in, which is the second book in the Valdor series.
Yeah.
And again, absolutely fucking vibing. Oh my God, the smut that I've just read, like in the last chapter I read, was fucking insane. Class. And yeah, I need to start Feathers So Vicious as well, but we have a bit of time.
We do. We tend to not release Patreon until the end of the month, so...
Yeah, remember when we promised everyone mid-month and then it just went out the fucking window?
It's just like, because the thing is, if Patreon's a book and we're doing one book for the main podcast, there's 2 books a month, then if we are chosen, if it's our month for Author Spotlight, have 3 books a month. And like pre-writing and pre-everything, like I would comfortably do that when my evenings were purely reading.
Yeah.
But I just don't have the time. Sorry, I was adding Arcana. So earlier, this is really boring, but it's like book related. I had a little minor reshuffle of my shelves. Nothing that'll stress you out too much, because I know you recently did my shelves.
I already know.
What do you know?
That you moved stuff.
No, I literally did today. So unless you have a camera in my room.
Did you take that picture of Hetty afterwards?
Oh yeah, I maybe did. What? And you noticed?
Yes.
It was only swapping stuff for, like, it wasn't leaving gaps. It was just swapping stuff for...
You moved the Blood of Ash special editions over and put Twilight next to them.
Oh yeah, I did that ages ago. Sorry, that wasn't what I meant. But yeah, because I just didn't like that there was space either side.
Yeah, but it's a... Okay.
No, what I was doing is, as you know, I'm terrible for like, I love my Waterstone special editions because they're the same price as a regular hardback, but I don't have everything. And what I tend to do is I'll like order the second one in a series and I don't have the first one. So I went through earlier when on my lunch break and made a note of like, what do I need to get on Vinted to complete like what I have. So like the God's Killer series, I have the last one, but I don't have the first two. Little things like that. Yeah. And I know, so I was going through and favouriting all the things on Vinted that I want to buy as and when I get money. Because like I've got the first two in the, is it 5 Broken Blades?
Yeah.
But they weren't next to each other on the shelves. So it was really hard for me to be like...
Yeah, because one was a spread and one wasn't.
No, they're both spreads. They were just not next to each other on the... They were in the same shelf, but they both have people on. One's yellow and one's red. But I've got the paperbacks as well, and they're all next to each other.
I feel like I put every series together. Maybe I didn't realise that
there was just a couple of things like that, like Faye. What's it called? What we've both got it with the red, and it's got the writing on it. Faye Cursed, Faye Bound. Like that wasn't next to the second one.
But they different styles though.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, that's why then. Because they don't deserve to be together.
No, they're both special in hardbacks. Oh, no, I wouldn't put like a paperback next to a hardback, no. But like, the one was the TikTok shop sprayed edge and the one was the Waterstone sprayed edge.
Okay.
Anyway, so what I was doing was going through and just trying to figure out what do I need to buy the next ones of. And as you were talking then, it reminded me, I've pre-ordered the special edition of the next Arcana Academy, but I don't have the first one. So I need to put that on my Vinted favourites to buy.
I think I've pre-ordered the special edition.
You did?
I only have the regular hardback and...
Yeah, I can't be doing that, see.
Don't bother me.
Oh, it does. I have to like have the... And then I'll start again. That's why I ended up with like 5 versions of LJ's books, because I'm like, oh, I need the hardbacks. And also, fuming. So... I'm back on Fairy Loot.
Ooh.
I finally got the Romantasy.
Only.
Yeah. So, and like, do you know what? I was looking in my spam for something else on the weekend, and all the emails were going to my spam, and it was like, today's your last day. You've got until like 5 p.m. And I was like, oh my God. And I signed up, luckily. But last month, I wouldn't have made it in time, because guess what it was? Half City by Kate Golden.
I know, it was fucking stunning.
But there's loads on Vinted for really reasonable. When it's the book of the month, I find people don't sell ever as much.
Yeah.
But when it's like the exclusive sale ones, then people take the fucking piss.
I know, I've got the Bridgerton Fairy Loots favourited on my Vinted. They're £450.
That's not how much they were, surely.
No.
Yeah, no. I was going to say they weren't that much.
No, I think they were they were over £100, but like maybe like £150, say, and they're on there for £450.
Yeah.
And I want them so bad.
But there's loads of Half Cities on Vinted.
Oh, okay, I'll have a look.
Going for like really reasonable.
That was stunning.
Yeah, so that's on my favourites. And things like, you know, like I got the first Blood of Hercules Fairy Loot cheap. Mm-hmm. So I want the second one, Bonds, which again, actually quite a lot are on Vinted for really cheap. The only thing I'll probably struggle with is they probably won't do LJ's next book. You know, why can't I think of the name of it?
Bonded by Broken Souls and Bones.
Yeah, that was the book of the month, wasn't it? But they probably won't be the book of the month for book 2.
I've read book 2, haven't I?
You're the Ark, yeah.
Yeah, it was class.
So that'll be
what it was called.
It's purple. I've got on pre-order on Waterstones, but I can't remember what it's called. Sorry. It's a duology, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crown? No, that's the next ever book, innit?
Yeah, Stolen Crown.
Yeah. Don't know. What's this one called? It's on my Waterstones. I can get it up.
Something Throne.
Maybe.
Thrones and
things and broken thing. Oh. Sorry. Oh. Sorry. Totally got off on a tangent. But anyway, it means it'll be like an exclusive sale. And like now I'm a subscriber, I will have more of a chance. And the other reason why I was chuffed is because those Kindred Curse sagas are mine. The new ones they just announced that I sent you.
Oh, they're stunning.
I'm having them. Like, I don't care. Like, I'll put myself into debt for them. Like, I want them. I have no special editions of Spark. I remember we were going to order those ones.
You've got the 3 hardbacks, though.
No, yeah, no special edition. It's just indie hardbacks. No, nothing special.
Don't jump down my throat. I wasn't saying there were special editions. I was just checking that you already
Remember
had
the
them.
ones they sent, Penn sent us for free? Remember?
The ones that we lied to your husband about, yeah.
Yeah, because they were really expensive. Why does it keep... I'm just trying to look at my orders and it keeps coming up with a fucking spider. I am human. I've logged in twice now, Waterstones. This is such a chaotic intro. Anyway, I don't know what the second book is called.
God, it's going to annoy me though. So it's okay, I can do it.
Oh, Heir of Twisted Lies.
Heir of Twisted Lies.
Because I've just ordered it. It's the top one.
Stunning.
And The Stolen Crown is the next ever book.
Yeah,
and
which we're getting the arc of.
Yeah, we or you?
We.
Lovely.
It's the podcast on her street team, not me personally.
And Princess...
Although, street team's opening, I could reply.
Greenwich... Are we on Greenwich and Lennox's street team? We are. I'm sure you signed up for that.
We've never had an email about
Yeah,
that.
I don't... No, but I don't think it's like a... It's not like one like you have to manually post. I think it's just like a... I'm sure we are. Because we got it ascended... Didn't we get the ascended early?
Yeah, I arc read the Ascended.
We both did. I had the arc. We both had it on holidays. It wasn't out yet. This is fucking chaos. Anyway, what was my point to this? Those Kindred Curse sagas are mine. I don't have any special editions of them. No, the regular indie hardbacks don't count, but they were really expensive because they were just indie and they're massive. To be fair, they are humongous.
I've just got the regular paperbacks.
Oh yeah, same. But
Trad paperback.
At the time, they didn't exist, and I knew she was getting picked
I still got
up.
that damaged one of
yeah.
book 3. Remember I said, like, if anyone wants it, you can have it, but nobody wanted it. I was like, does anyone want to rebind it?
Do you know what I'll do? Is I'll have it off you, because I've got a stack to give to book club. Book club have like a... Do you know what I mean? Like, just bring in, people just take them. Like,
it's readable. It's just damaged. And I was like, well... Oh, a lovely author asked us if she could send us her books.
Yeah.
And she'd fucking used print on demand with the Zon.
Well, you kind of have,
like the
you
drop
kind of
ship,
have to as an author, yeah.
And it's damaged.
That's happened so many times.
Yeah, I'm going to return them for her. She was like, oh, don't worry, like, I don't want to put you out. Like, I was like, absolutely not. Like, get your refund, babe.
Amazon are really
get your
coin.
So I'm going to return them for her, but bless her.
The
thought was there.
I've got a box in my car with 2 of my own that I got to send back because they just fucking chuck them in a box and they like kick them through the door like, here you go.
Piss on them. And
to be fair, I know, literally. To be fair, though, up until whenever I've had author copies off Amazon, up until these, they've always been really good, and they package them really well. Well, my big box came over the weekend, and they're lovely. But I don't know why this random 4, they didn't put them in a box. They just put them in like a paper envelope and just like threw them at my door, like.
So they gave them to the dogs. I have a chew on this before.
Honestly, they might as well have. That's how bad they were. And then we've had this conversation, but it's funny. I'll say it on the podcast. And then because if you're ordering them as an author, it's not like, because they're author copies, it's not, you can't just return them. You have to go to like the customer service because they're like author copies. And then customer service is like, well, we need to get the seller to approve it. And I'm like, it's me. I'm the seller. I am B.A. Pepper. Like, me. I approve this. I would like my money back. And they're like, we can only do a refund upon return. So you need to return them.
Yeah, but what are they going to do? Fucking burn them?
Yeah, they do. That's what they do.
Yeah, so like,
burn them.
But like, you could use them. Do you know? There'd be a paperweight on your desk. What's the point in you having to return them for them to burn them?
Yeah.
And then give you your money back when you could literally, they could be fucking paperweights on your desk.
But like, they've had my money. Like, they've had the printing cost. I don't get it.
Wild.
Sorry, that was a tangent. Yeah, Amazon are fucking... I've had a few people message me. I've been quite lucky, actually, for the most part. But a few people have messaged me that have ordered Door of Stone through Amazon. Yeah. And it's come, like, fucking upside-down pages, like, you know. But then the thing is, like, Ingram are their own thing. They've got their own issues. And then Book Vault for paperbacks have been fine, but they're just really expensive on shipping. And what's great about Amazon is you can drop ship in country, so especially when you're ordering to the US and stuff, you can just do it in country. And Amazon tend to be quicker, I find, than Book Vault.
They are quick.
Yeah, it's really annoying. Sorry, what was that point?
I don't know. If Brianda listens to our podcast, do you want to apologise to her?
Me personally?
Yeah.
What did I... Am I Jeffrey Bezos? Did I have a stroke and wake up in somebody else's body and I'm so suddenly...
I meant because you brought her book to Brenda.
Oh, sorry.
Brianda.
I thought you were talking about
I'd
the
got off.
author that sent us
I know,
books.
I'd come off.
Sorry.
I'd skipped
fuck
on
me.
from
That's why I said,
Amazon.
what, am I Jeffrey Bezos? Like, I didn't damage your books. Like, oh, yeah, fuck, I know.
And, like...
I don't know.
I think I took the fall for it. I was like, oh, it's my fault. Like, I wrote all the post-it notes with the names. Like, I'm really sorry. But I know that I didn't spell it wrong.
I did so many that evening.
Yeah.
Like,
You did sign, like, 70 books.
yeah. If it's any consolation, funny enough, we're talking about it now, it was Romanticon on the weekend. So, like, almost all the authors we know have been at Romanticon. So my entire feed has been Romanticon. And Kate Golden was posting pictures. Like, anyone with this name want to come buy this book because she done so many that, you know, like, in person. So she was uploading them on her story. Like, anyone called Lee with a 2E. You know what I mean? Because she'd done it again. Like, and I was like, oh, it makes me feel better that, like, if Kate Golden's doing it.
It was really nice, though, because obviously I'd messaged Brianda and I was like, I'm really sorry. Like, it's our error, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, it's actually really, really sweet because my grandmother's name was Brenda and I was named Brianda like after her. And she was like, so it's really nice that it's my grandmother's name. And she was like, I don't want a refund, I don't want a like a new one, like I'm totally fine. She was really nice about it, but I was just pissing myself because I was like, for fuck's sake, B.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the fact that there's only
one
this
out of
far
70,
that we know, well, and that was just hardbacks. Like,
I don't know. You remember when we went to Newport and we did the author signing?
Yeah.
I don't know how we didn't get any names wrong there.
Yeah,
because I was fucking sweat dripping down my temples.
I know.
You were like
we were very
flapping.
unprepared.
Your phone was locking on me. I was chasing someone for money because their card declined.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have post-its.
No.
You were writing them on a scrap of cardboard. That way.
Yeah.
A girl said to me that her name was like Anna or something like so normal.
Oh, yeah, no,
and I was like, normal spelling? And she was like, but it was like, it wasn't Anna. It was like literally a name that you can only spell one way.
Yeah.
And I was like, normal spelling. And she was like,
there's no other way, yeah.
And like, oh my God, like I just lost my head. How none of them were signed incorrectly, I will never fucking
also,
know.
Warwick.
When you're like leaning against a wall.
It was because it was like, obviously I didn't have a table.
Yeah.
So, and like and you couldn't really help because you were obviously like talking.
Yeah.
So it was basically me. Oh my God.
But like, we'd be one side of the room. Dee would like wave and be like,
I know.
someone with your book. So you'd like run the length of the room. Like, our feet were killing us already. Then you had nowhere to do it. So you're like putting your knee up.
My
leaning
toenails
and
are still bruised. It's never gone. I have to grow that out. I have to grow out. Like, my toenails are still bruised from what I was standing.
And it's so funny because B was complaining about like all the standing, and she was like, I'm gonna have to sit on the floor
on the Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh no, in the break room, I was sitting
and
on the floor.
I was like having a right go at it.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I've been standing for the same amount of time as you. Like, this is ridiculous. Blah 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 blah. You can't sit on the floor. And then like a week later, she found out she was pregnant, and she'd been pregnant the whole time. And I was like, I feel really fucking bad that I had to go at
You
it.
were really mean to me as well.
I was like,
I'm
just
really struggling.
just drink another Red Bull.
Also, if my child doesn't come out with some kind of like extra finger or something from the amount of Red Bull, and alcohol that I consumed from that weekend.
I just, every time I went to the bar, I was like, oh, large white wine. Yeah. And I was like, B, there we are.
Do you know what?
And you were like, can we go home? I was like, no.
I've been pregnant since then, so obviously I haven't drunk. But you know the thought of drinking a white wine now? Because I drank so much that night. Even if I wasn't pregnant, I could not have drank another white wine yet. It's going to take me like a year to get over that. Because we drank so much.
You were literally like, can we go home? And I was like, no.
Really? Why not? I was like, really?
You're like, I really want to go to bed. And I was like, no.
And that's saying a lot for me because I'm not normally.
No.
I'm not normally.
And I was like, we're on holiday.
And it wasn't like we did like a 9-hour day, and that was the day that we'd driven up.
Yeah.
So we've been up since 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And you were like, no. I was like,
yeah, we had to be there for 9. So we literally left at like 5:30. Yeah. We'd been on our feet all day, fucking yapping.
Yeah.
And then went straight out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm awful. I did feel really bad when you told me you were pregnant. I was like, oh my God, like, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. And you left, and I was like, Steve, I was horrid to her in Warwick.
On the Sunday, because it like kind of wound down a bit earlier, didn't it?
Yeah.
I like sat down at the end because there was no one in there, and you were like, you're sitting. I was like, yeah.
And on the Saturday they took us for a curry afterwards,
Yes.
and then on the Sunday they were like, oh, we're going for a tea meal as well,
Yeah.
would you like to come? And B was like, we could, and I was like, no, in the car, come
Yeah.
on, we're going. So like I even starved you and your
Yeah.
unborn child.
And then I started crying in the services over at McDonald's. How we didn't know that like I was pregnant.
Oh
at
my
that
god, yes.
point.
Steve's friend had a premature baby, and I was telling B the story about the prem baby coming, and she was crying, and I was like, fuck now.
I
Like,
never cry either. Like I'm not a crier.
literally, you didn't cry in your grand's funeral.
No,
Like,
I literally didn't. I don't cry at anything.
and, like,
Well, I
you-
do cry at stuff, but
yeah.
like not sad. I
Yeah,
don't know.
but you were like crying in the services, and I was like, weird. And then when you told me you were pregnant, I was like, oh, the crying makes sense.
But yeah, but you texted me that like a few, because didn't you go see it and then you were like,
Yeah.
oh, I was
oh my
telling her
God.
like
I was like, fuck, that's why she was crying.
in hindsight.
Yeah, I'll text you then. Like, I knew you were pregnant. Should have worked it out. This is the longest. We haven't
know.
even started the episode.
Oh, it's fine. I think people like it though.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just what talking
yappity
about.
yap, yap.
Talking about how you're pregnant.
yeah.
Anyway, right. What we're doing tonight. The episode is. Oh, I'm getting bossy again. Today's episode is called Bookish Debates because we're going to have some light-hearted, fun bookish debates.
Yeah.
And I thought we'd start with one that we've actually talked about, like, just like as a conversation, but we've never talked about it on the
Oh,
podcast.
okay.
So I'd actually be quite interested to know some of our listeners'
Okay.
opinions on it. So essentially this debate topic came from B shopping in the works, looking at books, and a young girl picked up ACOTAR and showed it to her mum, and her mum was like, yeah, if you want, babe. And B was sort of like warring with herself, like, do I intervene? Because the girl was too young to be reading sexual content.
Yeah,
Or
it was
potentially too young to be reading sexual content. And it sparked the conversation between B and I of whether books should have age restrictions like a film would, or like Grand Theft Auto the game, like obviously that's an 18, you can't buy it. Films, like if there's graphic content, sexual explicit content, obviously you get 12 15
Ratings, yeah.
18. I think it's slightly different in America, but they have a rating system. So it just started the debate between us of whether books should have, because it's a tricky one, because my like sexual knowledge at say 14 might be very different. Like, you know, when I think of what I was like at 14, like I think I was quite, and I know it's different between males and females, but I feel like I was quite not advanced, but like I knew about sexual things, whereas my nephew's about to turn 14 and I can't imagine him maybe that's me being naive, and maybe he, like, they all talk about it in school, like of course he knows, but naively I can't imagine him knowing like about sexual content. So like I don't think he could read it, but I think I could have read ACOTAR at 14.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
It's very like fine line, isn't it?
Because I think that, like, I'm trying to think, how do I word this? There were things that I was, so you at 14, right? Like you said, you knew a lot about like the birds and the bees, right? You know, probably that of like a 21-year-old, what people would assume, like, you know, in your 18, you know, late teens. But like, you didn't get that way because you were reading sexual, you know, you weren't really reading sexual books at that age. That was just from like life, right?
Yeah.
So then I think, that kind of like goes on the argument of, well, it wasn't because of these books that you were over-sexualized at a young age. And I really, maybe people would disagree, but like, I rarely hear that from anyone, like, oh, I read a book that was way too advanced. Like, it generally tends to be things like, well, just life, you know, like your surroundings.
And like, when I was that age, I had older boyfriends, not by much, but like maybe like a year or two older than me in school. So obviously, like, they were older, so they would know more. So like, do you know, like, and I had an older sister, so...
Yeah, and I don't know, it's difficult. I do feel like, so in like, this is a prime example. I think I've said this story before, but there was one time where I was in Tesco's, which is like our supermarket, and I was looking at Bride, or maybe I wasn't looking at Bride, but Bride was on the shelf, and an old lady picked it up and was like, oh, I love like vampire and werewolf things. And like, she could read the trigger warnings and know the sexual content and still be cool with it, right? She was like an old lady. She's been there, done that, like seen it all. But I do think that book covers, because obviously, how, you know, you're not going to put like you know, explicit things within reason on a book cover on a supermarket shelf.
Yeah.
So they are quite unassuming.
Yes.
And there's no, like, anybody could pick up Bride, a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, an 8-year-old could pick up Bride and go buy it in a heartbeat, and nobody is age verifying that purchase. Whereas, like you said, any other form of media or entertainment, there's age restrictions on it. I don't think they should be age restricted in the sense that, like, you must be 18. It's the same. It's like parents, like, you take it with a pinch of salt, don't you? My 3-year-old, a lot of people might disagree with this, watches Lord of the Rings, and she fucking loves Lord of the Rings. And, like, a lot of people are probably like, how could you let a 3-year-old watch Lord of the Rings? It's too scary, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But, like, I know my child, you know? But then, you know, my parents were really strict. Like, we were not allowed to watch anything. We were only allowed to watch The Simpsons. Like, which is hilarious.
You weren't allowed Sunny D.
Nope, wasn't allowed Cheese Strings.
But B wasn't allowed to shout up the stairs.
No, we didn't shout at my house. Wasn't allowed a key to my front door.
But, like, that was so normal for me. Like, if my mum was upstairs, to call up the stairs and ask her something. And when you told me that just... I do it now. I'll call to Steve, whatever room he's in.
And I've married a man from the Rhondda. That's their, like, personality, screaming at each other. Like, that's how they communicate love. Like, so it's not like that, obviously, in my household. But, like, growing up, like, it took me such a long time to, like... get out of that. I wasn't allowed to take shit from the fridge. You couldn't just take food from the fridge. I wasn't allowed to do that.
Wild, isn't it? Like, and again, like, people might disagree, but with my parents, I was allowed an alcoholic drink before being of alcohol age.
Maybe, like, on Christmas, I was allowed, like, a Bucks Fizz, but that was it.
Oh, no, like, I feel like I'm outing my parents now, but, like, I went on holiday with my mum and dad and my sister. My sister's obviously older, so my sister was of legal drinking age, but I think I was 15.
I don't think that's too young, personally.
And we went, like, we were going out, obviously, in the evenings, and one night I got really drunk at 15. But, like, then I was doing it when I was home on the streets with my friends, so at least my parents were with me and watching me and could, like, look after me.
Yeah.
When I wasn't, like, rolling down a hill, like, rolling through horseshit.
When I was 17, just not long before I turned 18, that was only when I remember there was a few, like, house parties that my mum would buy me alcohol, and she'd buy me, like, oh my god, I can't remember what they were called, but they were, like, really diluted, like, cocktail mixers.
Oh, okay.
But what was so funny is what she didn't know is, like, I had a friend who bought me, like, 2 litres of vodka at the party, so I'd be like, thanks, because and I agree, like, I wasn't that child that was sneaking out, but I could have been, because my parents were very, like, I never felt like I could share anything like that with my parents, you know. And also in the sex conversation as well, it was very, like, we just didn't talk about it. I never had a birds and bees conversation, like, you know. So everything I learned about, you know, that was through films and TV and whatever. Like, I don't know. I feel like, look, I read Twilight. Not that's particularly raunchy, but I was the exact demographic for that. There's no sex in the Hunger Games. But had I have read ACOTAR at 16, it would have blown my mind, but I think in a good way. Do you know what I mean? I actually think it would have made me, I'm not saying a better person, but, like, I think learning about things like that through literature makes you, like, more confident. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So I don't think it's like a, you know, oh, you must be 15 to buy this book, but I think there should be some kind of, like, way for you to look at a book and know what the explicit content is. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know, like, these types of books don't tend to be, like, just on your shelves. Like, they're more of a niche market. You know, like, more like the, like, dark romance, like the Stalker, or, like, Masked Men, and they're not typically, like, on your supermarket shelves.
But nowadays, I feel like, even since we've been doing this podcast, when we first started podcasting, and I'm not saying we're late to the genre, right? We're late to the game. But, like, even when we started podcasting, we never would have saw Daniel Jensen and Callie Hart on supermarket shelves.
No,
but now
true.
you do.
Yeah.
Lights Out is on shelves, and that's, like, a kind of, like, masked man,
like Stalker type thing.
And going back to the ACOTAR thing, I've actually had 2 instances in bookshops where this has happened. One where the works one where they did they ask me? Yeah, she asked me, "Have you read this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she said, "Would you say it's appropriate for her?" I think she was 16 or 17.
Okay.
And I was like, but I said it is definitely 18 plus. Like, it's full, you know, you're describing what's going on. It's not like, you know, closed door.
Yeah.
And then another time it happened in London where it was on the YA shelf and that child was literally like 10 and I had to intervene because the mum had picked up Silver Flames, or the girl had picked it up, and I was like, I have to say, like, absolutely no way.
Yeah.
Like,
no. One of my nieces, she is 8. She's 8, and she's she's a very advanced reader. Like, she can, you know, read chapter books. Like, and she can read, like, she's read all of Harry Potter. Like, she's very advanced, so she loves looking at my books because she loves reading. And I say, and obviously I've got a lot of sprayed edges. They're very pretty. You know, a lot of fantasy books are pretty.
They are.
So she loves looking at my books. So, like, whenever she comes over, she's like, "Can I go in your office?" Yes. But, like, our rule is, and she knows, you can look at them and, like, look at the cover and turn it round and whatever, but you don't open it. Because, you know, she could open it.
Like, Plated Prisoner starts at the first, like, 2 lines is an orgy.
Yeah, so,
know?
like, that's our agreement. Is she can look at them and look at the covers and look at the dust jacket and things like that, but she doesn't open the pages.
And
because she could read the words. Like, she could
fully understand it.
And if there was swearing, or, like, you know, a lot of raunchier books, you know, use the word cunt to describe a vagina. Like, she could sound that out and be like, cunt. Do you know? Like, I wouldn't want her saying that word. So, like, that's our agreement. Look but don't open.
No, I know, and I get it, because that was me as a child. Like, I was really an advanced reader for my age, and it got to the point where I literally was like, I've got nothing, because and particularly in the fantasy world, like, what else do you read? Because it was like, I've read all of, like, HP, I've read, like, you know, okay, Twilight and Hunger Games came a bit later in life, but I remember reading, like, fucking Macbeth and finishing it, and the teacher being like, I don't know what to give you. Like, have you tried Lion Witch in the Wardrobe? Yeah, I've fucking read them all. Have you tried this? Yeah, I've read it all. Like, have you tried this? And it's like, I got to that point where you are looking for something to read, but, you know, it is difficult. And I also think, like, it also brings into the conversation the whole, like, fantasy written by women. Like, when ACOTAR was first released, not just by other people, literally by the publishers, it was advertised as a YA, as an upper YA. You know,
I suppose if you're buying books for your child, you know, don't you? You know how much sexual awareness your child has. So I think as a parent, you can determine that. Like, if you're comfortable to buy ACOTAR for your child, then you know that it's appropriate. But like you said, if you're not reading in the genre and your child picks up a book because it looks pretty, you know, the ACOTAR covers are very appealing. They're brightly coloured. Like, I think a lot of fantasy books are very appealing. And if you're not in the genre, how would you know? Like, that's and then not appropriate.
No, I agree. And I do think this is where there should be some kind of, I don't want to say, like, I don't think it should be like movies, right, or games where you have to show ID, because then you get into the really dangerous territory, and it comes to the whole, like, book banning thing, right, where you get a, you know, super right-wing government, like, not to, you know, not talking about any country specific, but, like, you know, and they start saying, well, because you talk about a same-sex couple, it might be the least explicit book you've ever read, we're going to categorize this as 21 plus and you need ID, and suddenly books that you should be reading because it's so formative for your development and your awareness of the world, you're suddenly policing what people can read. And then I think it becomes really, like, dangerous territory, because who are you to say?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because one 16-year-old is very different to another. But if you'd have both spoken to me and Sam when we were 14, right? It's not that I didn't know about these things, because I did. Like, I probably was aware of sexual things as much as you were at 14, but we were very different 14-year-olds. Like, very different.
One of us was sexually active. And I won't tell you which of us. But you could probably figure it out.
And the other one of us was almost a legal adult by the time, and literally had to, like, basically go, anyone, because I cannot turn this age and still be a virgin. Like, that's how bad it was. So we'll let you guys guess which one was which. But we both have ended up loving and reading. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so even though we
yeah.
had very different paths to get here, like we both ended up like as equally sexual. I don't know if that's the way to say it. Like,
I would say one of us is probably more than the other. One of us has got a child and is with child.
That doesn't mean I'm more sex. It just means I'm stupid.
There's no proof that I have sex with my partner.
Oh my God. Jesus
No
Christ.
children.
Wait until marriage.
Well, it stops completely then, does it?
But that's what I mean. Like, so it's not like, oh, because, you know, like, and like, if anything, like, I'm not saying I read particularly sexual books, but like, okay, you read like 50 Shades of Grey, but you were like in your 20s, but like, the Twilight's a little bit spicy, and I was reading that at like 14, you know?
When did 50 Shades of Grey come out?
It probably came out earlier than we think, but it didn't really get big until like, I feel like I was in my early 20s. I'll tell you now.
Because I feel like I read it.
2011, so we were 17. The
Yeah,
first
I was going to
book.
say, I feel like I read it as soon as it came out.
Yeah, I feel like I knew about it, but I feel like it really, you know, because then when the film started being made, the
Yeah.
first film was 2015, so that kind of makes sense. We graduated in 2015, so I
Yeah.
feel like that was when I remember it.
I remember they released the film on Valentine's Day. Me and George went to the cinema together to watch
I've never
it,
seen
like,
them.
Two fucking losers.
I've never read them, I've never seen them.
I think the books for a contemporary reader
Yeah.
are good.
Good, yeah.
They're well written, and the plot is actually quite good. The plot beneath the sex
Yeah.
is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
The film was shit.
But surely you don't see anything in the film.
No, and that's why it's shit.
Yeah. Because everyone was like losing their minds, and I'm like, you don't even see a nip, do you?
I don't think so, but
Yeah.
whatever. So that was the first, not a debate really, because I do think
Yeah.
we're both on the same page. But,
No, I agree. I think there just should be some way, and I think when you're talking like us, right? We know our genres. Like, I think for indie authors, I'm not saying it, but I think my main I think we both agree when we're talking about this, it's like when it comes nowadays, when you see books like romantasy, not just fantasy, but all the genres, which would have been more indie, now coming on to the which is amazing. Like seeing Callie Hart and Daniel Jensen on shelves, like I cried when I saw Quicksilver the first time in Asda's, literally sobbed my little fucking heart out because I was like, oh my God. And like Fourth Wing and all, you know, all these books and dark romance is the same, and contemporary. This is contemporary for anything more so, because a contemporary, and it's not a poo-poo to contemporary, they have every right to do it, but like the pancake cinnamon bun box, like the amount of people that I know bought those for family members thinking like, oh, cute little, you know, romance read, and they're really spicy, and there's nothing wrong with that.
The Elsie Silver series, they're so pretty, like pastel colours.
Yeah.
They're
If you-
filthy.
If you're in the works and you're 12-year-old and you didn't know that none the wise, and you're 12-year-old going, can I have these 5 books for £15? You go, yeah, right.
And you know, one thing I was going to say is my mum reads, but she reads like Dawn French, Marion Keyes, like do you know, like women like that. She wouldn't even think to look at for trigger warnings in a book.
Same,
she would flick through to chapter 1 and start. She would forget all the first pages because she's, you know, straight into it.
Yeah.
So like if you're a reader like that and then your child says, can I have this book? And you're like, yeah, you wouldn't even think to quickly scan for trigger warnings. Like
my parents were pretty strict and they wouldn't have checked trigger warnings in a book prior to that. Actually, no, this makes me laugh. Sorry. This is such a fucking tangent episode. I have a vivid memory of going into Waterstones in Cardiff with my gran because she used to like buy us. We just fucking funny that my parents are so strict. 'Cause my gran literally let us get away with fucking Blue. Although she wouldn't have let me buy 50 Shades of Grey. Do you know what I mean? And I remember, is it the second Twilight or the third book in Twilight, Breaking Dawn? Yeah. Came out and it was on the tables, and like the films hadn't been made, but I'd heard people like talking about it. So I was maybe like, I want to say 12 or 13. And I remember being like, Gran, I really want to read this series. So they had the 3 of them. And my gran asked because it was vampires. She was a bit like, you know, because it's a bit thing. She asked the lady in Waterstones, like, is this appropriate for my granddaughter? And I remember her saying, like, she was kind of whispering to her, but I could hear her, well, she does get pregnant at the end, and there is a scene where he has to, like, get the spoiler for fucking Twilight, he has to, like, bite the baby out of her because it won't come out, you know, so they do consummate their marriage, but they're married, you know, but it isn't, and I remember telling my gran being like, absolutely no way, no fucking way you having that. And I was like, Gran, like, everyone's reading it, I want to read it, and because I was, like, struggling, and she was like, no. Absolutely
That's
not.
so funny.
Like, but like, look at me. Do you know what makes me laugh? Is like, look how I fucking turned out. You know, like
look at the filthy alright.
Literally, oh my god! Thank God she's fucking like not here anymore. Because if she'd have read what I was writing, it would have killed her. If she wasn't already dead. Sorry. Anyway.
When your child is like of an advanced reading age, you're gonna have to lock your office door.
So, this fucking episode's gone out the window on Friday. If anyone's Swansea based, Cover to Cover, which is like the only independent bookshop in all of Swansea area, in Mumbles, is stocking Daughter of Stone. And I went down on Friday with my husband on our lunch break to drop them off. And we were coming out of there, and my husband was like, oh, we're going to have to go back and get some pictures, like show our daughter, like, you know, amazing to be like, look, that's Mum's book on the bookshelf. And then we were kind of talking, and I was like, when she's like 16, and if I'm still doing this, like, her friends are going to fucking rip the shit into her that her mum writes smut, because like you would, wouldn't you? Yeah. Like you just would. And my husband was like, oh shit, yeah, I didn't really think about that. And I'm like, yeah, that's definitely going to give her like a complex, isn't it?
Yeah. I wonder where your mum learned this.
Yeah. Like, oh, have you seen your mum wrote the word cunt? Like, you know, like, yeah, I know. I do feel a bit bad, but you know, is what it is, isn't it? Anyway, sorry, tangent.
Yeah. But I would love to know other people's thoughts on, you know, how we protect innocent minds.
I think it's just a way in, now that places like the Works, Tesco's, like our supermarkets in the UK and in the US, like Target is stocked with like, you know, more genre specific books that have super explicit scenes. There's nothing wrong with selling those. They don't need to have a cover that has a fucking, you know, like penis on the front for you to know that it's explicit. But I just think for unassuming people who are a little bit clueless, there just needs to be some way that's like smacking them in the face to say, just so you know, this is considered.
Spoiler alert, there's sex in this book.
This is considered 18 plus or like 15 plus. I don't think it needs to be an ID check because like the thing is, Grand Theft Auto was ID checked and everyone was fucking playing it, weren't they? Yeah. So like, you know, it's pointless.
Yeah.
That was a long one.
Yeah. Sorry guys. Okay. Next one.
Yeah.
Little bit more talked about. It's all over my TikTok at the moment. I must have like tapped into a certain algorithm. Okay. Because the Throne of Glass reading order is all over my TikTok at the moment.
Okay.
I actually did a video the other day with holding my Throne of Glass set, and I just said, I don't care what order you read it in, just fucking read the books. Like, it's a great series, just do it. Like, if you've got to put Assassin's Blade first, third, fourth, whatever, just fucking do it. And I say in it, I read Assassin's Blade first because it was the first one in the box set. I didn't tandem read the books because I just read through them.
I wouldn't tandem read anything.
Yeah, like, I was just like, if that's what you need, if that's the way you need to consume the book, consume it that way. Like, I don't fucking care, just read the series as class. Yeah. And somebody actually commented on it and was like, oh, I'm so glad you did this video. I've always found it really daunting because people say...
You must do this.
Yeah, there's so many opinions on how to read the series. And I was like, no, like...
Read it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm glad, like, I'm glad you're now not put off because I did this video. It actually got like 1,000 views, which is good for me on my personal TikTok. But sorry, that was a long intro to say. Yeah. Throne of Glass reading order.
So like, if you were to ask either of us, and it comes as no shock because we said this a million times, we would always recommend Assassin's Blade first. But that's the way we read it because both of it. Well, I think I had it. I read it first, didn't I? Yeah, because it was quite early on.
Yeah, because you've got the white spines.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So, and I literally read it that way because it was like that in the box set. It wasn't because I wasn't really on Book Talk. I didn't know any better. I just picked it up and I got it for Mother's Day, and that's the way it came. And I read it from start to finish. Yeah. When you then read it and we were a bit more like in the world, I had said like there is a preferred reading order. I would recommend AB first, but like whatever. I just think, like, if you ask me, I'll recommend Assassin's Blade first, because I do feel like by the time you get to Empire Storms, the callback at the end, it's a lot of feelings. Whereas, what's the other way to the publish order is maybe like third or fourth?
Yeah, I can't remember.
But then you'll get a lot of people. We've had a lot of people that got really agged on our videos and are like, well, when it was published, we had to read it. And which I get.
Yeah, obviously, like, if you were reading them as these books came out, yeah, you did read them in publishing order, and I get that. But I think people who are now starting the series and are like, oh, you have to read it third. For the emotional impact, read it third. And I'm like, you're not less emotional if you read it first.
No.
Like, I cry over Sam Courtland regardless of where I put Assassin's Blade.
Yeah.
I would cry over him. I don't feel like... and it does happen first.
Yeah, if you're reading it timeline-wise, Assassin's Blade happens first.
And, like, you know, Sarah knows these books, and Sarah decided to put it first in the box set.
Well, this is the other...
That's intentional.
Yeah, this is also another really interesting thing is, like, there's been a couple of series I feel like we've been in, you know, we've read the first few, and then a prequel comes out, and because we're reading them in publication order, we have, you know, we're going back, I guess. But there's very few where they put the novella first. Like, I don't feel like I can think of any others that they put them the way they do in Throne of Glass. They will put them in published...
Yeah.
You know, or they will call it like 3.5.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't feel like that's what Assassin's Blade is referred to as 0.5, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like I think that's kind of done for a reason. But and it kind of on the same topic is like the tandem read, right? Like you can tandem read Empire Storms and Tower of Dawn. I really don't fucking get people's ag with Tower of Dawn. Like, I really don't get it. And it might not be for you, right? It might be your least favourite book in the series, and that's fine. Like, that's okay. It's a book in its entirety. It's literally the third biggest in the entire series. So by telling people you need to read 2 800-page books, bouncing from some people might have done it and have fucking loved it, right? And I'm not saying. There isn't a sensible way you can read that.
No.
There's only doing it the hard way around. Like, no, I'm not carrying...
And also, that's one thing, carrying 2 books around with you. And also, like, no, I'm not fucking having a checklist next to me and ticking off which chapters I've read so I know where to go next.
Even in the Kindle being like, right, close, open.
Absolutely fucking not.
No.
That's like a fucking job.
Yeah.
I'm reading for entertainment, not to be fucking tracking what chapter I'm on and which book I need to be reading. Like, I'm sorry, I don't get it. And if you did the tandem and you loved it, that's great for you, and I'm glad that you loved it. But I don't fucking get it.
We've got it. I just think...
My brain, and I'm a clever person, I could not fucking cope with that.
Yeah. And, like, Throne of Glass, it's not a hard sell, but it also is. Like, people love Sarah J. Maas generally because they've fallen in through ACOTAR or Crescent City, most time ACOTAR. ACOTAR is fast-paced. It's a heck of a lot smaller, and it's technically a completed trilogy with books that are continuing on. So Throne of Glass is a really hard sell for the amount of people that have said to us, I'm intimidated. I read it last, not because I was necessarily intimidated, but because I heard it was more YA. I was like, I'm worried about spending like 70 quid on these books and not
that's
liking
another
them.
Factor is the cost, whether you're getting them physical, on Kindle, on audio. There's a cost associated with starting an 8-book series. And it's a big cost. Yeah,
and they're like, in terms of books, they you know, some stuff goes really cheap, right? Some stuff you get in the work, but even in the works, TOG is not cheap.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any other series that's that many books is charging what Throne of Glass charge. It's because they can, right? Like, it doesn't need to be discounted, and I get it. And we are talking, because if you probably bought the Game of Thrones box set, it probably would be that much money as well. Because they're like 1,000-page books. We're not talking like 5...
Steve's brother gave me all his Game of Thrones.
Oh, so you didn't have to buy them. Lucky.
I know.
But it's a really intimidating box set for a lot. We've had so many people tell us that. Yeah. And then you get all this like fucking like...
Yeah. Oh, okay. You decided to buy the box set that you were intimidated of. Now, listen to all the reading orders and decide how you're going to read it.
And you have to tandem read this book. Like, no.
1,600 pages to get there.
Also, Sarah Jane Maas did not put her fucking heart and soul into Tower of Dawn from beginning to end for you to like... swap. And again, if you did it that way and you loved it, right, cool.
Great,
That's
yeah.
a really cool, quirky way of reading, and I'm not gonna poo-poo that for anyone. But you need to stop telling people to fucking tandem read them. It's just no. Like, imagine me saying to you, like, I know Game of Thrones, they're like 1,000-page books. Like, what are they called? Song of Ice and Fire and a Song of, I don't know what they're called.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, they're intimidating. They would intimidate me as a fantasy reader. You gotta swap between chapter. You'd be like, no thanks.
Yeah.
You're all right. No. It's a book. I should be able to read it from beginning to end, and it'd be a complete story. And guess what? They fucking are. Like, having done it, they are.
And another one that we've had, and like, blows my mind. I skipped Tower of Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
And like, if you skipped Tower of Dawn and you still loved Kingdom of Ash and everything made sense to you, great. But what the fuck? Because the revelations you get in Tower of Dawn, the things you find out.
Yeah.
Imagine not reading Tower of Dawn and never falling in love with Sartak.
In the numbering, is Tower of Dawn 7 or is it 6.5?
7.
Yeah. You can't just skip a whole book.
Yeah. Imagine! That's wild. I think that's wild.
If it was a 0.5...
Yeah, if it's a novella
or like a full novel, but a POV, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it isn't. And I get people don't like Kale, right? Fine. But it's a full book within the series. Like, I'm sorry.
Skip if you... Like, jump forward like 30 seconds if you haven't read Tower of Dawn. Or Tog at all.
Yeah.
Imagine getting to Kingdom of Ash and being like, when the fuck was Queen Maeve made Valg?
Because you only get that revelation
Who
in
the
that
fuck
book.
is Sartak?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I agree.
wild. What are these things they're fucking flying in on? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if I'm not trying to compare, but I'm trying to think of other series where there's loads of like novellas. I keep talking about fucking Twilight tonight, but like there's loads of standalone novels, or not loads, but there's a handful that came off like Twilight and stuff. Like Midnight Sun, right? That's the first book from Edward's POV. Like, absolutely you can fucking skip that because it is not like a required reading for the series, right? The short second life of Bree Tan or whatever it's called, like a random character you meet for like 10 seconds and she did this cute little like, well, it's not cute, it's really fucking sad. It's like she's like 12 and she gets killed, but like, you know, spoiler. But like, they've been out for like 20 years. Like, if you haven't read it, I'm sorry. That's like people being like, you spoiled Harry Potter. It's like, fuck off. It's been out for like...
I didn't know that happened in Wuthering Heights. Like,
I'm sorry. It's been out for like 30, like hundreds of years. Like
that's on you, babe.
Yeah. Or when people are like, don't tell me the ending of Breaking Bad. Like, what? Like, it's been out for like 20 years. Anyway, sorry. Like, it's sad, but like, it's a little like, fine. You don't need to read that. But like, you should, I don't know, I just think if you don't want to carry on a series, that's absolutely fine. I'm all for like protect your peace. And if it's not vibing, that's fine. But to tell people you don't need to read Tower of Dawn, just skip it. Like, no, you absolutely need to fucking read an 800-page book in a 8-book series that is a core stepping stone to the next plot point. And I genuinely think people only say this about Throne of Glass because it's a completed series.
Yeah.
You don't really get that about ACOTAR. No one's saying like skip A Court of Thorns and Roses because it's like not the best, you know? Like, no. Which kind of brings me on to one of the sort of topics that we were talking about, controversies, is people saying that you don't need to read Frost and Starlight. Like, no.
If you haven't read Frost and Starlight, skip forward like 30 seconds. You have to read Frost and Starlight just to read about Feyre and Rhys shagging in the sky. Like, for that fucking little tidbit alone, you have to read it.
I very rarely read anyone's reviews or hear anyone talk about ACOTAR because like the first 3 is such a whirlwind. Wings and Ruin is such a whirlwind. You come off it and you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then it's a kind of a bit of a quiet period to transition you into Silver Flames, right? I don't know anybody that says the Silver Flames is their favourite. If you're out there, that's fab, good for you. But like, I don't think it was ever intended to be written to be like, this is going to be everyone's like favourite in the series. What did I say?
Silver Flames.
Oh, sorry, that's what
I was going to say. Silver Flames is definitely people's favourite.
No, sorry, that's what I meant.
Frost and Starlight.
Yeah, but like, it just is a necessity because she couldn't put things like that at the end of Wings and Ruin at the beginning of Silver Flames. Like, it's a stepping stone. That's why it's so short. That's why it's like a quick wham bam, here we go. they're happy, now we're going to continue, and this is where we go, you know, because she couldn't tag that on to the end and beginning of, because of pacing wise, but it isn't supposed to be your favourite book in the series. And it baffles me when people are like, oh, it was really shit, I don't know what the point of reading it is. And it's like, I'm not saying it's supposed to be bad, but like, you're not supposed to read Wings of Ruin and then read that and be like, do you know what? That was the fucking better book.
That was
like,
much better than the last 3 I've read.
That was much better than the 600-page like emotional damage that I just read. Like, no.
3 ships named after his 3 daughters.
Literally. Like, but you know what? The shagging in the sky really did it for me.
Those Christmas gifts, lovely.
Like the fucking artist fucking studio or whatever, you know? Like, of course you're not, but like, it's just the necessity to transition to new characters. And I also baffles me when people are like, oh, don't read Frost and Starlight. I'm like, if you've read all of the first 3, it is literally would take you like 2 hours to read Frost and Starlight. Like,
and also like what qualification have you got to tell me what books to skip in a series? Like, who are you?
I just think you need to stop telling people to skip books.
Just enjoy what you enjoy. Yeah. And if you have to DNF, like, whatever.
Yeah. That's fine.
That's a lovely little segue into my next debate.
Okay.
So, not like a hard and fast rule, but like for DNFing, when is it okay to DNF? If you read one chapter of a book, are you allowed to DNF and say I didn't like that?
I have. I really, really DNF.
Yeah,
because
I know.
It's literally, I can count books on one hand. I've DNF, but one of them. So one book that I DNF'd, I was literally like 85% of the way through, and I just stopped and I never went back to it. So I wouldn't say it's like it wasn't like a conscious DNF. Yeah. It's just
wasn't enjoying.
And I ended up, and like maybe one day I will, you know, because there's been sequels released since, and maybe I'll go back. But like,
I'm trying to think what book you're talking about.
I think you do know.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm not here to poo-poo anything, so I'm just trying to think.
But then the other, I'm trying to think, there's only 2 I've ever done that with. I don't think I've ever done, I think there is only genuinely 2 books I've ever DNF'd. I don't think there's been any more. No. And the second one, it literally was like 2 or 3 chapters in.
Okay.
I just think, you know you're not vibing, like, it just like, wasn't vibing.
For me, personally, like, I would say I've never DNF'd a book. I started when the moon hatched, and I do, when we talk about it, say, oh, I DNF'd that, but I didn't DNF it. I started the audiobook. I literally got 30 seconds in. There were so many names being thrown at me. I just turned the audiobook off and was like, that's something I need to read physically. And I haven't gotten round to it. It's a big book.
Yeah.
I will read that book. It's not a hard DNF that I'm never going back to it.
Yeah, I agree. Just not the right time and the right place.
And I couldn't audiobook it. For me, like, if I read the first chapter of a book and I didn't like it, I wouldn't necessarily, I would try and push through.
Yeah.
And similarly, if I'd got to 85%, I think I would just see it out. I think for me, the sweet spot is like about 30%. If by 30% I'm not hooked, then I would happily DNF.
Yeah.
But interestingly, not last year, the year before, so 2024, our book of the year was Metal Slinger, which I read as our author spotlight. And 1, Rachel's not going to listen to this anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And 2, I don't think she'd be offended by me saying this. But I started Metal Slinger and I just wasn't in the right headspace. And I texted me, I said, I can't fucking read this. And she was like, well, you have to, because it's for our author spotlight. And I said, well, I'm going to have to try again. And I just completely walked away from it for like a week. And I went back and I started it again. So, you know, reread what I'd already read. And obviously I loved it. It was my read of the year. But like, I don't know what was going on with me when I started it the first time, but I was just like, I'm not in the fucking headspace for this.
No, and I think that's definitely true. So I think with a DNF, I think I've got like a bit of like a shocker, like a bit of like a mixed view on it. So the first book that I DNF that I read to like 80% and I've never finished, like there's a sequel been released and I think it's a completed duology. Would I go back and try them again now because I could read it all the way through? Definitely. I never DNF that with the intention of, like, I wasn't vibing, but it just was like
started reading something else and I just forgot that you were
never went
back
to it. The second one, it was like, nah, this is not for me. But the second one, I obviously was recommended it, but it was way before you started reading. And I got recommended it, but it wasn't one that I was like, oh, I'm like, and honestly, I've never been no one has ever recommended it since.
Okay.
It is in the genre, and it's
Yeah.
definitely a book that people read and people love it. It's trad published, it's really big. I think there's sequels, like, it's definitely a well-known, I would say pretty well-known, it's trad published, but it isn't one of those ones where people were like, oh my God, you would love this.
Yeah.
However, When the Moon Hatched I was the same when I audiobooked it. And I persevered. No, I actually did a bit of both. I read some and I kind of did both. I agree that When the Moon Hatched is the type of book that you need to read.
Yeah.
Because like you said, you really need the glossary.
Yeah.
But in theory, I probably would have considered DNF in that. But there were so many people that were like, you'll love this. It's really worth reading. That I did persevere because I knew that people were recommending it for a reason.
Yeah.
So like in that instance, I probably was feeling the same 3 chapters into When the Moon Hatches. I was feeling the same as the big trad published one that I didn't enjoy.
Yeah.
But I persevered When the Moon Hatched because it comes so highly recommended, and I was like, and by the end I was like, I totally get why people recommended this. I just did it in the wrong format, same as you, and it definitely is one of those books like you need to be in the right headspace for. You know, it isn't like, it's not that it's not easy breezy, but it's a lot of like world building. The reason why I did was like 2-3 chapters DNF. The other one is because like nobody was like, oh my gosh, you have to read this.
Persevere. Push through,
you know. So like I think that is a big factor for me. Like there probably isn't much that I would literally just hard DNF at 2 or 3 chapters, but this one, it was just like, it's just not for me. It was a bit of like not a risk, but a bit of like a random sort of like recommendation. It is what it is, you know.
And I think as well, like I see a lot of because obviously like TikTok and Instagram now have, you know, the book talk and bookstagram is like quite big. People saying like, oh, you shouldn't DNF books, like you should read it, or you should see it all the way through because you don't know if you'd like the ending. Like, and I agree, you know, it might get better and I might read it all and love the ending. However, if somebody's not vibing with a book, and they've got a TBR of 100 books and they're going to vibe with something and enjoy reading it much more, I would much rather them DNF the book that they're not enjoying and go and read something that they're going to love and potentially could be their next favourite book, rather than persevere because Joe on TikTok said you can't DNF a book. Like, I don't think it's up to anybody. Like, and like what I've already said about the Throne of Glass reading order, I don't think anybody has the right to tell you how to read and how to consume books.
Yeah. The one thing on the DNF thing I feel like I maybe do kind of agree with is I personally would never star rate a DNF.
I agree. Absolutely agree. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair because you don't know if you would have loved the ending. Yeah. Because you didn't read it. So that's fine if you're DNFing it, absolutely fine, but you don't get to leave a star rating. You don't get to poo-poo on an author and leave a 1 star saying I DNF'd this book, because that's not fair. You didn't read it all. That's not an accurate representation of
that
the book.
1 star. Yeah. If you finish the book in entirety and were like, I absolutely hated that book and you 1 starred it, I'd be like, okay, fine. Yeah. But yeah, to be like, I read the first 50 pages and I hated it, so I DNF'd, no problem. Like you can DNF after page 1, like whatever. Yeah. But like to leave a 1 star rating or to publicly be out there and be like, I DNF this book 1 star for me. Yeah. No, none of the books I have ever, I mean, I don't really rate books now anyway, but like pre-becoming an author. Yeah. I would never star rate a book that I DNF'd. No, I remove it from my Goodreads. I just mark it as like not read. I don't even mark it as currently read or read. Yeah. I just take it off my Goodreads. Like, no, because I didn't read it. Yeah. I can't, you know, like it's like I didn't DNF When the Moon Hatched. I ended up really enjoying it. It was just like, you know, but like I you know, by that, you know, kind of comparison, like I gave When the Moon Hatched 5 stars. I finished it and I gave it 5 stars. It's a phenomenally written, a wonderful high fantasy complex world system book, but like if I'd have DNF'd after 3 chapters, how can I give it 1 star when it ended up being a 5-star book? Like I don't, you know.
And this is another problem with leaving ratings for books that you've DNF'd is people are influenced by reviews, and this is why we won't talk about books that we didn't enjoy on the podcast, because we have, like, humble brag, we have quite a few listeners and quite a few followers. And we probably do influence people's decisions, especially when we're fucking crying over Throne of Glass or like raving about Akamath. People probably are going to read these series because we're talking so passionately about them. And we would never want to influence somebody negatively to not pick up a book because we didn't like it, because who the fuck are we to say that? And I just think people who are leaving these 1-star reviews and like, you know, you go onto a book's Goodreads and you're like, oh, the star rating isn't great because these people DNF'd and left 1 star, but like you're influencing somebody now to go, oh, actually I won't bother trying to read that book.
Yeah, I just think, sorry, go on.
And like, well, you didn't finish it.
Yeah, and I think, again, this is getting on a whole thing in recent years, because like when I was, you know, reading back in high school and stuff, like I suppose like reviewing online was a thing, but like I feel like in the time of book talk and kind of having, and some people are making a career by having like an online influencer presence when it comes to book reviews, right? Which is amazing. I think that's amazing. That's how people earn their living now. And I'm not saying you can't talk about books negatively online, right? Some people do, and that's like your thing. You can say, I didn't enjoy this book and here's why. But I think there's very much a culture now of like the more outrageous and kind of like bantery witty that your review can be, your bad review of a book, your 1-star review, like it becomes like a personality thing, you know, not personality, it becomes like this person's reviews are so funny because they're so mean, you know. And I just think like you're curating your review for an entertainment purpose. You know, you're not just saying, here are the reasons why I didn't enjoy it, and people are like, oh, do you know what, fair enough. Because there's some books that like, you know, I see 1-star reviews for, and I'm like, that book, but like, you know, fucking Akamath has got 1-star reviews, bloody millions of them.
We don't do it anymore, but like as like a jokey end to episodes, we used to read 1-star reviews of books that we loved. And like that's a prime example. People are leaving these 1-star reviews, and then we've just spent an hour crying over it because we fucking loved it so much. So,
but I've even seen it to the point where like people have a Patreon just to see their like exclusive reviews, or their, I don't know, and their whole thing is that they're negative reviews. And I just think it gets to the point where surely you are, because you're now making like an income, or in whatever capacity, or you're getting views and followers or whatever, because you're almost like, yeah, like a satire-y negative kind of thing. It becomes a bit grey, because then, you know, the idea of a review is that it's an honest review of a book. It's like, for example, like, you know, this is getting really boring, but like in like music journalism, right, or like film reviews, there's always been columns in like the papers, and of course there's reviewers that are known for being really like snarky, but then like that's what they do, but they're almost like aware of what they are, and they are being paid by a company to give a review. And you know, like food critics, right, in kind of the same vein, right, there's some that are known for being a bit like, you know, kind of like a bit negative, but like you can't then be like, oh, you know, like I want a social media presence and be friends with all these authors because, you know, I want, you know, and I want to get PR boxes and these things. And it's like, they're not giving PR boxes to guarantee a good review, but it does like taint the world that you're in, because like, why would an author want to, do you know what I mean? Like, because you're known for giving bad reviews. So why? You're not reviewing, like, I would respect a reviewer who had read, like, there's been obviously there's fucking loads of people who didn't like my book, right? And there's some people that have just given like legit reasons why they didn't enjoy it, and I'm like, yeah, it's absolutely fair enough, like,
whatever,
cool, whatever,
you
like,
do you.
That's your opinion, and that's totally fine. And then they've given some amazing reviews to other books, and I'm like, cool, like, fab. But then there are a running theme of people who just give bad reviews for like the, what's the word, like the yeah, I don't know if I want to say the views, but you know what I mean?
You know,
like, and that's where I think it gets a bit like,
yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
So we'll get off our soapboxes now, because we've been debating for an hour and 13 minutes.
Wow! To be fair, the first like 40 minutes was literally just
fucking
losing our heads.
Talking about fucking leaks. But hopefully you enjoyed that. If you've got views on anything we've discussed, like, we're happy to discuss. Like, slide into our DMs, talk to us on Discord, whatever. Like, we love having conversations about books and the book world. Join us next week for King of Ravens by Claire Sager. And hopefully, if all goes to plan, the week after will be our interview with Claire. So if you want to read along with us, like, come and join the Discord and we can chat along as we read. Neither of us are like mega far in, so you'd definitely be able to catch us up if you want to read along with us.
Absolutely.
Any parting words?
I don't think so.
Lovely. That was fun.